Hello and welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host Yeshi. Here are the headlines. Major defense deal signed as US President Trump pays maiden visit to India. Gilgit-Baltistan rejects Pakistan call for its fifth province. And Afghan's better able sportswoman worries for her future after Taliban returns to power. Let's begin the show with US President Donald Trump's two-day maiden state visit to India. Marked with pomp and grandeur, the visit was dubbed successful by both sides as they resolved to deepen their ties in a comprehensive manner. A defense deal worth $3 billion was the major takeaway. We have a detailed report.
An unprecedented welcome resembling the tone and nature of a festival was accorded to US President Donald Trump as he visited India for the first time in his presidency of almost 4 years. A crowd of 100,000 people attended a mega event hosted for him in the world's largest cricket stadium. The magnitude of hospitality was indicative enough of a strengthening bilateral relationship between the US and India. And it wasn't only symbolism. The two countries decided to prioritize their relation with each other and elevated the status of ties, calling it comprehensive global partnership.
India-USA relations are no longer just another partnership. It is a far greater and closer relationship.
American ambitions of a defense market received a boost as India confirmed the purchase of around $3 billion of defense equipment from the US. Washington has long been pushing for a major defense deal with India. New Delhi, which was historically preferred Russian ammunition and technology over others, has lately expressed its interest in US technology too. There is rapidly growing US market in India.
Earlier today, we expanded our defense cooperation with agreements for India to purchase more than $3 billion of advanced American military equipment, including Apache and MH-60 Romeo helicopters, the finest in the world.
The trade deal, which the commentators believe is the need of the hour between two sides, could not be finalized. United States has emerged as New Delhi's largest trade partner, and it is the only country with which it has trade surplus. The two countries have bickered over imposition of tariff, and they are working over hammering out a limited trade deal. They say they are ready to finalize a deal beneficial for the parties, and it will be signed by the end of the year.
Prime Minister Modi is forging bilateral economic relationships that is fair and reciprocal. Our teams have made tremendous progress on a comprehensive trade agreement, and I'm optimistic we can reach a deal that will be of great importance to both countries.
The diplomacy between the two countries has also received major breakthroughs as the two sides have decided to speak in one tone when it comes to speaking on global issues such as terrorism. Among many others, India seeks US support on speaking against terrorism emanating from Pakistan. Islamabad-backed terrorists have claimed several Indian lives in last few months. New Delhi has always sought an aggressive stand of Washington against Pakistan. The US, on the other side, seeks to deepen its ties with India to build a counter against China its military and economic competitor. Washington and China haven't had a great time with each other in recent past, and the confrontations are likely to grow in coming times with no side ready to concede defeat. New Delhi will play a crucial role in such a scenario. Political analysts say that India-US partnership could be the next big thing and will play a definitive role in redefining the world order in 21st century.
The demand for self-determination is getting stronger than ever in the illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan. Political activists have now accused Pakistan for its failure to comply with the United Nations Security Council Agreement of 1948 and the last year's Supreme Court ruling on the status of Gilgit-Baltistan. We have a report.
People in Gilgit-Baltistan have rejected Pakistan's move to make the occupied region as its fifth province. The activists here are demanding the end of decades of subjugation and barbarism in Gilgit-Baltistan, a part of erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. The demands for self-determination and self-governance have further emboldened among the people here. The residents also demand Pakistan to adhere to the United Nations Security Council Agreement on the status of Gilgit-Baltistan.
13 अगस्त 1948 को एक क्लियर कट अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा की करारदाद मौजूद है। उसके मुताबिक हम डिमांड करते हैं कि हमें सेल्फ रोल का मौका दिया जाए। अभी मज़ीद पांचवें सूबे की उबूरी सूबे की बीक हम नहीं मांगना चाहते हैं। हमें एक कौम तस्लीम किया जाए और हमें अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा की करारदादों के मुताबिक सेल्फ रोल जिसमें दिफा करेंसी और दाखिली मामलात के अलावा तमाम हमें इख्तियारात जो है हमें तफवीज़ किए जाए।
People here are angry and frustrated as Pakistan government recently allowed partial implementation of Gilgit-Baltistan Order 2018. A year has passed since the 7-judge bench of Pakistan's Supreme Court gave a written order regarding the constitutional status of Gilgit-Baltistan and the grant of fundamental rights to elevate the hopes of the deprived residents. But even so, Pakistan flip-flopped on the ruling and used it to run its duplicitous agenda of giving Gilgit-Baltistan a fifth province status.
मैं एक सवाल करता हूँ कि ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान का 7 जजेस का जो है फैसला है 1 साल से अमल दरामद नहीं हो रहा है। वजह क्यों? हम इसकी अमल दरामद चाहते हैं। जो ये अपने मर्जी से रातों रात फैसला करते हैं, अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट देखें इस वक्त गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान के कानून का आपको मैं बताता हूँ, आप हैरान हो जाएंगे। अपनी मर्जी वफाक को ज़रूरत है वो 2018 चलाते हैं। इन्होंने चीफ जज को भर्ती करना था 18 का इस्तेमाल किया, चीफ इलेक्शन की भर्ती किया उसको 18 का इस्तेमाल किया। हमारा कौंसल का बजट जब हम मांगते हैं तो कहते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान में केस है। तो जो उनकी ज़रूरत है वो 18 चलाएं, जो उनकी ज़रूरत है वो 20 चलाएं। तो मैं समझता हूँ गिलगित-बल्तिस्तान अब किसी का चिरागा नहीं है। अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हम कंटेम्प्ट प्रोसीडिंग लेके जाएंगे वफाकी गवर्नमेंट के खिलाफ।
The dubious verdict of the Supreme Court has led to widespread disaffection among the people in Gilgit-Baltistan, who are demanding an end to Pakistan's illegal rule in the region.
Moving on, Afghanistan continues to remain violent as the Taliban has been targeting locals and youth to create instability in the region. Thousands of Afghans were injured during the years-long conflict. 26-year-old Nilofer Bayat hopes for peace so that her wheelchair basketball team can participate in the Paralympics, but fears the Taliban's return to power could quash her dreams. However, she dreams of getting peace reinstated in her motherland. Let's take a look.
Dribbling basketball across the court on a wheelchair, 26 years old Nilofer Bayat, the captain of Afghanistan's national women's wheelchair basketball team, is one among the thousands of Afghans who have suffered physical injuries during the 20 years long war. Bayat hopes for peace so that her team can take part in the Paralympics, but fears her dreams would get crushed if the Taliban returns to power.
ما یک خاطره بسیار بد دارم از دوران طالبان، چون ما در دوران طالبان معلوم شدیم و دوران زندگی مرا مکمل تغییر دادن. من همیشه ایره فکر میکنم که اگر چیزی باعث شود که بسکتبال ما استاپ شود یا کارهای ما استاپ شود، من در آینده چی خواهد کردم، یعنی آینده ما چی خواهد شد. این یک از نگرانی های بسیار بزرگ ما و دخترایی که در اینجا هستن مثل ما فکر میکنن.
Bayat suffered a spinal cord injury at the age of 2 when a rocket hit her house, killing her brother. Her injury limited her ability to run or jump, but could not deter her from studying, getting a job, and pursuing her love for basketball.
نیلوفر مسکین 2 ساله بود. آوان آمد در روی اولی ما خورد. بچه ما 12 ساله بود، رسم میکرد. روی سن اولی بود. نیلوفر پشت سن کلکین بود، سیل میکرد. آوان آمد در پیش ارسی خورد. چرا در آمد. بچه 12 ساله ما همونجا جای به جای شهید شد و نیلوفر 33 چرا در تمام وجودش خورده، شکاف.
8 years ago, she began playing basketball with a team organized by the International Committee of the Red Cross, or ICRC. Bayat now works hard and nurtures her team, which is breaking all stereotypes, seeking development of the women in a country riddled with conflicts.
بسیار زیاد لذت نبردیم از دوران کودکیم به خاطر اینکه مرا جامعه نپذیرفتن. کسایی که در چهار اطراف من بودن هیچ کدامشان طفلای معلول نبودن و مرا با یک دید بسیار ناتوان میدیدن، با یک دیدی که ما واقعا مثل اونا نیستم، در تیمشان نباشم، مرا هیچ وقت در تیمشان نگرفتن. به مو خاطر من تا حتی سالهای آخر مکتب ما یک دپریشن بسیار خراب داشت. قسمی که ما از قبلا امو چیزایی را که از طالبا به یاد داریم، چیزایی که قبلا بوده در افغانستان در دوران طالبا، این واقعا ناراحت کننده است و قابل نگرانی است. این فکر کنم تنها نگرانی ما و تیمیایم نیست، از تمام افغان‌ها است، از تمام کسایی که اینجا زندگی میکنن.
Bayat's team has taken part in international competitions in Indonesia and Thailand, winning 3 medals in the process. Life is difficult for differently able people in Afghanistan, where they face social stigma as well as inaccessible streets and buildings, lack of rehabilitation and health facilities. It is to be noted that ICRC says up to 1.8 million people are physically challenged in the country, mostly due to the 20 years of war.
وظیفه برای کسایی که مالیات داره بسیار کم است، بخاطر که زیاد جایا اونا را بخاطر مالیاتشون استخدام نمیکنن یا امو اداره هیچ اکسسیبل نیست بر اونا. با وجودی که زیاد از معلولین تحصیلات عالی دارند، مکتب پانتون تمام کردن، بسیار رشته‌های خوب خواندن، اما متاسفانه برای هیچ کدام اونا یک وظیفه نیست که اونا میخواین.
Bayat expressed concerns over a possible return to power by the hardline Islamist Taliban, which banned women from education, work, or leaving houses without a male relative during their 1996-2001 rule. Under a daunting task of taking the role of a captain for the national women's wheelchair basketball team, Bayat intends to spread a positive message to women in the world, and her story is surely an inspiration for women outside of Afghanistan who can improve their capacity, have equal rights, and can equally contribute to society.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Australia's chief de mission for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics said everyone involved in the 2020 Olympics is trying to make sure we make the right decisions along the way. Chesterman said that every indication we have from the IOC is that the games are proceeding and that's the way we are working. We are not developing any other plans along the way. Australian sailors Sam Phillips and James Ryan said that they are not thinking about the coronavirus and concentrating on their own preparations ahead of the games.
the coronavirus issue is a very serious one, and it's being taken seriously at every level imaginable. The Japanese government, the Tokyo municipal government, the Tokyo organising committee are all applying great efforts and energies into the fight against the coronavirus, and also the IOC is applying their expertise through their medical department and working closely with the World Health Organization to make sure that the right decisions are being made for the athletes, because obviously athlete welfare is a primary consideration to every party involved in the Olympic Games. It is a bit of a moving feast, and like you, I wake up every day and read the new news that's happened overnight. So we're obviously taking this very seriously. We're following the news, and we're trying to make sure that we make the right decisions along the way.
The Minister of Health of Japan announced that it is still too early to talk about a possible cancellation of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games that are expected to take place from July 24. Nepal's opposition parties have demanded a parliamentary probe into allegations of graft involving Nepal Communist Party leader Gokul Baskota, who recently resigned as communication minister. The lawmakers during parliamentary meeting raised an issue demanding clarification from Nepal Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. This comes in the backdrop of a leaked audio tape of Baskota where he can be heard talking about a commission of Nepalese rupees 700 million with a Swiss company agent regarding a security printing press.
संसदको सार्वजनिक लेखा समितिले सिक्युरिटी प्रिन्टिङ प्रेस बारेमा यो कारबाही अगाडि नबढोस्, दुईटा कम्पनीलाई सरकारले दिएर जुन घोटाला गर्ने बाटोमा हिँडेको छ त्यो काम रोकियोस् भनेर सरकारलाई निर्देशन दिइसकेको छ। अब यति ठुलो अचम्म, यत्रो ठुलो लाजो मर्दो भ्रष्टाचार सीमा नागेको छ। 70 करोड घुस दिन्छु भन्नेले त्योभन्दा प्रतिस्पर्धा गरेर अझ बढी घुस दिनेलाई चाहिँ अनि यो ठेक्का दिने अवस्था आयो भन्दा अनि तिनी कलाउँदै हिँडेछन् मेरो 70 करोड भन्दा अझ अरबौं खानलाई सरकार तयार हो भने यो भन्दा लाज मर्दै के हुन्छ? प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यू भ्रष्टाचार गर्दिन, गर्न पनि दिन्न भन्नुहुन्थ्यो, यो भन्दा लाज मर्दै के हुन्छ?
Soon after the audio surfaced, he resigned from the ministerial post and he is now being investigated on projects which were carried under his supervision. Last month, the Nepali House panel had started a probe into the complaints registered at the Public Accounts Committee, alleging that billions of rupees had been embezzled in the process of establishing the security printing press and procuring necessary equipment and machinery. Nepal is preparing to bring in security press worth Nepalese rupees 35 billion as per government-to-government modality from France and Germany as per its plan to print secure documents, certificates and stickers including passports, excise duty stickers and vehicle driving licenses on its own. Traditional Japanese cuisine, Wahoku, is simultaneously simple and complicated, plain and sophisticated. It is salty, sweet, sour, slightly bitter and full of umami flavors, and equal emphasis is placed on beautiful presentation. The Wahoku World Challenge is a cooking contest for chefs of Japanese cuisine from all over the world who are passionate about Japanese food and are continually striving to deepen their knowledge and expertise. The 7th contest was organized by Japan's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries with participation of foreign chefs. 5 chefs joined this final competition with cooking skill of Wahoku. Wahoku is registered on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List, raising the government's hopes of enhancing its global recognition, attracting more foreign tourists and boosting exports of the country's agricultural products.
今年は17の国地域から80人を超える方々に応募いただいて、そして5人のファイナリストということになりました。まさにその日本の食文化の真髄みたいなものをいろんな国の地域の方が理解をなさって、でそれを自分の国の食材と、それから日本から各国にしてみれば輸入された日本オリジナルの食材を使って、で文化を、日本の食文化をいろんな異なる文化のところで表現すると。
Wang Weiping, a chef from China, won the competition. Foreign chefs convey the charm of Japanese food culture and Wahoku in their countries. India has attracting attention as a huge market for businesses in various fields. Under these circumstances, Impact Holdings, which is a major component of its retail distribution Real Store, is one stop over-the-counter business partner that provides field marketing services in developing convenience stores in India. The name of the store is Essentials. The store sells a variety of food and household goods as a convenience store. The first store opened in August 2019 and it will develop store style and the small area kiosk store style in each region, India.
食べチェーンがやってるですね、コーヒーの豆だけ売ってる小売店っていうのがあったんですね、フレッシュ&グランデと。でそのお店が約400店弱ございまして、これを我々の新しい合弁の会社に、店舗を現物出資するような形で移管してですね、約400店舗を一気にコンビニに変えていこうというのが今回の今進んでいるプロジェクトの第1弾でございます。結構おしゃれで綺麗なお店なんですね。でインドっていうのは人口13億以上いて、でアッパーミドルって言われているような年収が200万300万以上あるような方が3億人以上いる。
In an effort to stop the potential spread of deadly coronavirus, Pakistan has temporarily closed its border with Iran as the number of infected cases in the neighbouring country has surged to 43, with at least 12 deaths across the nation. Pakistan has decided to not allow anyone to cross into its territory without getting screened at Taftan border. Our report.
Pakistan closed its Taftan border with Iran, stopping movement of people as reports of the outbreak of coronavirus in Iran spread. The decision came a day after the Chief Minister of Pakistan's Balochistan province, which borders Iran, announced that a state of emergency had been imposed in the province due to the outbreak of the virus in Iran. A large number of pilgrims visits Iran from Pakistan via the Taftan border, crossing on a daily basis. Authorities say that they have sealed the border, introduced screening procedures and increased patrolling in a bid to ensure the infection does not spread to the area.
किसी भी बॉर्डर किसी भी क्रॉसिंग पॉइंट कोई शख्स यहाँ से जाएगा ही, और दूसरी जो डिसीजन बिल्कुल क्लियर है कि वहाँ से जो आएगा पहले क्वारंटाइन, पहले वो देखेगा, पूरी एग्जामिनेशन होगी, 13-14 दिन रहेगा तो फिर आएगा, बिकॉज हम कुछ लोगों को तकलीफ दे लें, पूरे पाकिस्तान में ये बीमारी ना फैला, तो इसलिए इस पे सख्ती से अमल दरामद करना बड़ा जरूरी है.
However, an official of the Civil Aviation Authority Pakistan told that flights to and from Iran have not been suspended. He said that Health Ministry staff had been posted at the airports and passengers will only be allowed to enter after being determined healthy. A high-level meeting on the coronavirus situation in Iran, chaired by the Provincial Chief Secretary Fazil Asghar, was held in Quetta to discuss the situation. Following the meeting, it was told that doctors were monitoring the situation at the border and isolation wards and medicines was being organized. They said they had asked the Iranian government to give clearance certificates for anyone travelling to Pakistan.
Like language and culture, food is quintessential that defines the essence of any geographical location on earth. Recently, the Chitrapita Art and Craft Society of India's northeastern Tripura state organized Rice Fest to promote the traditional rice cakes locally known as Pitha Puli. The event exhibited delicacies from across the border to cater to the palate of food lovers.
Hundreds of food lovers gathered at Nandan Nagar in the outskirts of Tripura capital Agartala to get the taste of delectable dish of homemade traditional Bengali rice cake at the Pitha Puli Utsav. These homemade delicious pithas and pulis, Bengali rice cakes, have been passed on from generation to generation. Many housewives and locals participated in the fest.
আসলে নতুন প্রজন্ম, আমি এটা বারবারই বলি, নতুন প্রজন্ম আমাদের যেরকম আমরা গ্রামীণ মৃৎশিল্প নিয়ে কাজ করি, মৃৎশিল্পেও নতুন প্রজন্ম আস্তে আস্তে অন্য প্রফেশনের দিকে ডাইভার্ট হচ্ছে, তো ওদেরও কিছু করার নেই। তো আমরা চাইছি সমস্ত ধরনের লোকশিল্পগুলোকে যেন তাদের থাকে, তারা যেন এটাকে রক্ষা করে, তার জন্য আমরা চেষ্টা করে যাচ্ছি 2006 থেকে।
Organized by the Chitrapita Art and Craft Society, which works on reviving traditional art and craft, the fest acted as a platform to launch new products in order to assess the marketing capability, customers' acceptability and linkage. The main aim of the fest was to revive the homemade dish, which is slowly being replaced by fast foods.
I taste many of the pithapulis. It were very tasty and it were lovely. I saw the designs. They were very beautiful. I never saw them like that.
More than 30 stalls were put up at the fest. The participants also expressed that despite the joy of serving food, they also made a reasonable profit. Sweets, salted, dry puddings and a variety of food mostly made up of atap, unboiled rice, coconut, banana and molasses of date palm as a sweetener were exhibited at the fair.
It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Yeshi signing off from the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.